How long is Jane's uncle here for? How long is Jane's uncle here for?
Till Tuesday or Friday.
You hear that one?
Recording in progress.
I like that you put my
Start the
name.
video. There you go.
Ready?
Yep, there you are.
Okay, good evening. My name is Susan Skeen, and I'm the chairman of the Berlin Historic District Commission. As indicated in the agenda for this meeting, this is an in-person meeting with remote access by Zoom video and telephone conference. Meeting access was provided and posted on the town website for the commission members, the applicants, and other interested persons to participate. For those listening, I would ask that you mute your device or phone if you are able, so that we do not get any background noise. Please also try to use a handset when available. Speakerphones and Bluetooth may cause interference. When it is time for individuals to speak, I will ask you to unmute your phone to identify yourself. If a number of people ask to speak, we ask that you be patient until your turn. I have two very important reminders to everyone participating. First, Every time you speak, you must state your name and title for the record. Second, you must be careful not to speak over one another so that everyone who is listening can hear what is being said. We have a clear record. For this reason, when it comes time for the commission members to comment and ask questions about a particular agenda item before any action is taken, and then to vote on an agenda item, our planner, Maureen Giusti, will call the roll. Also, this meeting is being recorded and the recording will be posted on the town's website. I'm now going to ask that Maureen take attendance by calling the roll. Thank you. Maureen,
Chairman Skeen,
here.
Lorraine Stubb,
Here.
Richard Bennett,
Here.
William Sink,
Present.
Herb Watson,
Here.
Pam Pethagal, alternate. I do not see her, I believe excused.
Yes,
Uh,
and then.
Audra Lou Miller, alternate. Also excused, I believe. And Amy Pressure, alternate.
I'm here.
Okay, we can't see you, but we hear you.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so I guess we were going to start with the certificate of appropriate request by Mr. Nicholas Nero for 100 Harding Holdings for the property at 991 Worthington Ridge for demolition. It's a barn style building. Is Mr. Nero here and present?
So this is Maureen speaking. I don't see them here. I use the same email to notify them and send them the meeting information as I used in previous emails with them. And I did not get a reply today, nor.
So how would you like us to proceed?
Um,
I mean, do we continue their COA without them being here? Do we wait and we do the next COA that's on the docket and then come back to them if they're present?
I think that's probably the best case. It's very difficult without them being here for you to make a decision without them able to state their reasoning, case, whatever. However, I think from an advisory standpoint, if they do not join the meeting and you want to provide some instruction for staff as to how to
Proceed.
or to advise them so that they can be better prepared or and continue. This hasn't happened. And especially on a case like this where they have a timeline for demolitions.
All right, well, the next COA on the docket is actually my home. It's HDC 2021-02, and since it's for my home, I would ask that Lorraine take the reins and be the chair while I present my COA.
Okay.
And I also advise that you then seat the Amy Pressure, the alternate that's present.
That would be wonderful.
Replace you, or rather ask Lorraine to do so.
Go ahead, Lorraine.
Oh, okay. We're going to see Amy Pressure to fill Sue's spot because this hearing is for her own house. Susan,
Just like
Um,
I'm here, that's fine.
okay. I've got like a waiting thing here, like I can't see anybody now.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, okay, the video came back. Susan, do you want to present your COA?
I would be honored. So this is Susan. This is a COA for my own home. As you drive down my driveway on the right-hand side, there is a small shed. It's probably, I don't know, 6 by 8 or something. And it was built by the previous owner's sons in the 1960s, I believe. He had 5 sons and they just decided to build this little shed for themselves. And it is still standing. And as you can see, it's kind of gotten worn, but my husband would like to replace the current roof with some metal sheeting. I think you all have pictures of the shed. And the material is going to be classic rib steel roof panel in charcoal. I think it'll take maybe like 2 pieces. And that way he'll be able to secure the roof and then maybe do a little more. Right now, we just use it for storage for lawn chairs and stuff like that, gardening supplies. That's really all I have to present. Are there any questions?
Yeah. Susan, I actually didn't, I don't know if anybody else received, all I received were the 2 pictures of the house. I didn't receive any picture of what the material was to
Oh,
be, or your COA application itself.
Really?
I'm sorry for that. I thought I had sent the whole package out.
I thought it was on that second one.
Unless I
that
missed
sent you
it.
After I sent you the,
I'll
I didn't
also
receive anything.
say that they were all, the link to the website with everything on it should have also been in that email.
when Maureen sent out the June 3rd update, and it was, please find the attached agenda and applications. It's at the bottom of the thing, and it says 203 Hudson. And there's a PDF with my COA application and a description and photo of the material.
Oh, okay, maybe I missed it.
I'm trying to pull it up. The
Do we have a picture?
screen
of
share thing's in my way, so hold on a second. I'm getting to her application.
that? Oh,
There we go. This is the application itself. Oh,
That's
didn't come
the,
out very well on this.
no, because it's black.
But it's just standard.
It's standard
Metal.
metal. It's similar to what we have on our roof currently. It's a black metal roof with raised panels,
Is
I
it a
guess.
standing seam roof?
Yeah, it's a rib steel seam roof
It looks like
panel.
okay, because I thought you had said plastic. I heard plastic.
No, it wasn't gonna be plastic. It's steel.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry you didn't get that. It was a thing from Home Depot. So,
It's this page that's showing now is
Yeah,
the
I'm seeing it
product
now.
description. 29 page
Okay.
thickness, 36-inch panel to 3/4-inch rib height, features bell top, trapezoidal rib, and not on 9-inch centers, designed and installed, to be installed on roofs with a 3 to 12 or greater slope. Coating system guards against corrosion, fading, chalking, and chipping.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Susan about this? No questions?
Nope.
Be sure if you have this is Maureen speaking, please be sure if you have a question to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'll take that there's no questions. So can I have a motion to approve this? Somebody?
I mean, you have to push the button to speak.
No, you don't.
Oh, wait a minute, I have to close the meeting.
A motion to close the public
A
hearing
motion to
first.
close. Okay. Can I have a motion to close the hearing?
Sure, this is Richard Bennett. I make a motion to close the meeting.
Do I have a second?
Bill Sink, I second.
All those approved?
Aye.
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 The 5 ayes.
Amy, you're muted if you're responding to closing the meeting. Amy.
Amy?
She approved in the chat.
Oh, it says it's in the chat. Okay.
I can't see the chat. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry,
Okay,
we
so-
don't- Yeah, I don't usually use the chat, so, okay.
Oh, sorry
Okay.
about that. I for a second, I couldn't find where the unmute button was. Because I was on the chat and then the other thing disappeared. So I'll unmute myself going forward.
Okay,
Thank you, I'm sorry, with the other meetings that usually have more attendees, we don't generally enable the chat. So thank you. I'm sorry, Amy, for that.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
So I
Anyone?
think we have a unanimous to close it, so it's
Yes.
closed.
You want a motion to vote on the COA? That's Richard Bennett. I make a motion that we vote on the COA for 203 Hudson.
Richard, like as Susan presented?
Yes, as presented.
Yes. Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All
Amy,
those,
I second.
okay. All those approve?
I'm gonna, for the actual vote on an application, I'm gonna do a roll call. Lorraine Stubb,
Yes.
Richard Bennett,
Yes.
William Sink,
Yes.
Herb Watson,
Yes.
and Amy Pressure.
Yes.
Okay, the motion's approved. Okay.
All right. Do you want to stay as chair for this, Lorraine, or do you want me to take back the thing?
You can take it back.
All right,
Thank you.
well, thank you. All right, so this is Susan, and the public hearing is continuing. We do not have the owner of the property at 991 present to present their COA. So I would like to ask the other members how they would like to proceed. Should we, I mean, the majority of us have visited the site. But I have questions as far as what they intend to do with the site once they take it down, if we were to approve, and more importantly, if any of it is salvageable in anybody's mind, you know, the exterior, the wood, because I know before Bill moved into his home on Sunset, they did take down a barn, and we did try to find a buyer for some of the barn wood, et cetera.
This is Richard, and I think it should be tabled until the next meeting, until he's here. We can't ask questions, we can't do our job without him being here. Obviously, if he didn't care to show up, it can't be that much of an issue with time-wise.
Does anybody else have any thoughts?
I agree with Richard. This is Amy.
I'm sorry.
Amy, you were saying,
I agree with Richard.
and then Herb, you had a comment?
Well, no, my thought was, has the building inspector looked at this?
I do not know. Maureen?
I don't know either, because he's, you know, separate, this would be a separate action from this
Right, but
commission.
if anybody was gonna declare a building unsafe, it would be the building inspector.
Yes, but I don't know that he challenges the, you know, a homeowner who says they, you know, their insurance carrier
Well,
claims that. I don't know whether he does that or not. I will ask him.
This is Richard, and Herb has a very good point, because that's a very dangerous building, and for it to be open like it is, for any kids to go in there and play or do anything, they could get seriously injured. So the building inspector, that would be part of his job, I believe. Should at least be closed up so no one can get in there in the meantime until they decide what they're gonna do with it.
This is Susan again. I have heard rumors and comments from different people. Was there something from this gentleman's insurance company that was part of the thing? Because if I did, I missed it.
No, I do not
Okay.
believe we got anything.
Okay, so that's just conjuncture.
They said on their application or in their description that was distributed.
Maureen, this is Lorraine. You know, it occurred to me, like, I mean, anybody could just say their insurance company tells them to take it down, but couldn't they also repair it? I mean, I'm sure that's an option that the insurance company would accept if it was restored. I mean, it doesn't have to be black and white here. No.
Lorraine, this is Susan again, and this is in reference to the request you made this morning to Maureen about looking at the file for the home. See if we can see when the foundation was poured.
Mhm.
It's a very thin file for 991. I only see 2 pieces of paper and it's mostly for gutters. So if there was anything else that was presented about that barn or anything, I don't see it in that file.
Oh, okay.
Unless there was something else missing, or maybe they just didn't make a request.
Well,
This
they
is
may
Bill. If I-
not have.
This is Bill. If I can interrupt, I was just looking through my email and I believe on the screen you're sharing, you just scrolled past it. It's a screen or 2 down. There is comment from, I believe it looked like the insurance agent or someone representing the owners of the shed that they intend to replace it with. Let's see what I find. I'm awaiting description on how they will be removing and restoring the area. I was told it were replaced with soil and grass, creating a garden area. So that at least sounds like what they intend to be, there you go, what they intend to be replacing it with. However, I do agree, if anyone on the commission has questions that they feel are pertinent and appropriate to the situation at hand regarding demolition of the building, salvaging of parts, and or if they still have questions about what it will be replaced with, it's difficult for this commission to move forward on the proposal without having the owners or representative of the owner here to answer questions.
If I may, on the screen right now, I have where they put on their application, the insurance company is requesting to demo the barn building in the backyard due to safety concerns in parentheses. But I would like to also agree with Mr. Sink that my intent earlier, when I said you could perhaps give me some questions so that maybe we can move it along where they're prepared at the meeting they come at, because obviously I had asked them to give me the restoration plan and to, you know, let me know if they had some material, but you know, what they plan to do with both the building and as well as restoration. And we haven't gotten that response yet, other than the one line that they were going to continue to check with the owners on that. She's the one that was my contact for the applicant.
Oh, Erin.
Erin was the contact for the applicant. So, but I'll just reiterate, if you have anything specific, or not even specific, but the subject matter you'd like me to make sure they're prepared with, I can reach out to them.
Well, on the application.
But I don't really think that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I do not believe that a vote on it would be sustainable without them here too.
This is Susan again. I was looking back over the COA that Bill was mentioning there, and it does say underneath proposed work involves repair. That's what he has listed. And then below that, he says insurance company is requesting to demo the barn building due to safety concerns. But if that's the case, then what has he done to ameliorate any safety concerns? You know, as far as, if he was like, as Richard had said, if he was concerned about the safety of the building, which I agree, it should be boarded up so that people can't get into it. But I'd also like to see if there was anybody, if he made any efforts to find, somebody who was interested in the barnwood or and an idea of what he intends to do with the property itself, because it does affect in a way it affects other properties, because what he does with that property there will affect the other properties that are abutting down the hill, because there'll be water runoff and stuff like that. It might, because that happened to another home on the ridge there when they took down stuff behind them.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Maureen, this is Lorraine. Are we allowed to share any background information we've gleaned? Or does the applicant have?
It would have to be entered into the record again, but because this, is not, because they're not here. So anything would have to be entered into the record, but perhaps, I think maybe more appropriate is sending me to gather that information or providing it to me to disseminate prior to the next hearing.
Because, you know, I knew the family that lived in that house for a very long time. And I think they sold it in 2001, but back in 1985, they took that barn. I don't remember this personally, but I tracked down the person I knew and talked to him. He lives in Newington now. And he said his father had jacked up they had a crane or something, and they jacked up the barn and they poured that whole new concrete foundation. And they were not finished with that one side. That's why there's a gap and with the cinder blocks. Because what happened is there was a hurricane, he thinks it's Hurricane Gloria in 1985, was coming, and they had to rush and get the thing down or it might have blown away. So they hastily put all those cinder blocks in, and it was always the intention to finish the job, but they never did. But when you look at that foundation, that's like a brand new concrete foundation under there. So I just wanted to add, like, you know, I've got information from the prior owner about it, though. Unfortunately, they didn't follow through with it, and neither did the owner before this owner.
Well, this is Susan again. So what I'm hearing basically on everybody's part is that it's an inability to proceed with this part of the hearing. If the owner is not present to present any new evidence or any plans of the thing, then I think that we need to table this till next month.
This is Amy. I agree, only I am concerned about the safety too, because I know there are people who are sitting down there. I don't know if they have new tenants. I have no idea who lives there, if children live there. I think, isn't that for maybe some, you know, somebody, the building inspector or something like that needs to somehow move on that, because I think it is very dangerous. They need to tape it off or something at least.
I concur, and I think Maureen will probably check into that for us. So I'd like to, I guess, do we have to take a vote to table this?
I think that's probably wise.
All right, so I'm gonna ask Maureen to take a roll vote of our request to table this hearing, this application till next month's meeting. So Maureen?
So that was a motion by you.
Yes,
Okay.
unless somebody else needs
So
to
then
make
you
it.
need a second.
I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
And Chairman Skane,
I agree, I say yes.
Lorraine Stubb,
Yes,
Richard Bennett,
Yes,
William Sink,
Yes,
Herb Watson,
Yes.
and then Amy is not seated for the vote, so.
Okay.
Good.
All right then, so moving on through the rest of the agenda. We had a, I don't know if anybody, the last meeting we had was January 4th. I don't know if anybody was provided with the minutes for that.
Did I
meeting.
not include them? I thought I had, but now I'm not seeing them on here. I'm sorry, we are just running on total empty in our office.
Okay.
Please.
So I think we can, do you want to, we'll just table that too then, okay? We'll, so because nobody has the minutes from the meeting on January in front of them, we'll just review those at the next month's meeting, I think. And then we move on to other business. The meeting house update, anything, Lorraine?
no, still raising money. It's coming in, but not there yet.
Okay. Any other matters of interest?
This is Lorraine again, the Episcopal Road barn.
Oh,
It's
yes.
been kind of frustrating. Steve Bilotz has had several different interested parties. 2 of them fell through. I keep following up with him every few weeks, and he's got another interested party. You know, he keeps taking more time, and I'm worried that Mr. Orsini's going to get impatient at some point.
That's Mr. Orsini is the developer.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, they've been talking to each other. but it's just a little frustrating. And then Steve had also promised me he would go look at that East Berlin train depot, but he hasn't been over there yet, but he did talk to the guy for a long time on the phone. So I haven't heard anything more about that.
I don't know if anybody else is aware of the train depot, Lorraine, no? If you
It's
want
in-
to just briefly describe the train depot.
It's off Berlin Street in East Berlin near Stan Chem. And where Berlin Iron Bridge used to be, it's on, if you're going past the cemetery from 372 area, it would be on your right. It's just a little driveway in there and you can see it. I don't know if I've shared pictures before. It's not in great shape at all because again, you know, he didn't secure the roof. It's a very plain little station, but you know, it has a lot of history in town. And we had talked to him some years ago about, you know, wouldn't it be great if you could turn this into an office and renovate it, because so many other towns, I've seen people do this and they're quite charming buildings. And, you know, he called up some months ago and said, you know, I'm thinking about doing that or tearing it down, but I want to do the right thing. You know, I don't want you to be mad at me. So, are you guys still there? Because my screen went.
Yes, we're still here, we hear you.
Oh,
This is
okay.
Maureen, excuse me, this is Maureen. I'm trying to bring up the map on your screen. Are you guys seeing the map?
Oh, okay, where the train depot is?
Well, you have to help me find it.
That's the. that's
This
the-
is Berlin Street.
Okay.
And here's Stan Chem right here.
It's kind of under my waiting thing.
Oh. Okay.
So,
Oh, it's this property. I don't know how to point, like I have a waiting thing circling and it's right over the property. But it's a little
it on-
building.
On Berlin Street?
It's right off
I
Berlin
bet
Street.
it's
There's sort of
right
a,
here.
right where your cursor is now.
It's right there, right?
Yeah,
'cause
it's that
looks
little
like
building.
That's a train, that would have been a train route, it seems.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing
Yeah.
that's the building.
and we have a lot of cool old pictures of it back in the day with, you know, thousands of people outside it. It was like a booming area because right across was Berlin Iron Bridge. And now you can see it more. But, you know, when I was talking to Steve Violets about these problems with barns and roofs, you know, it's a lot of people just put those blue tarps over things, but there's a membrane you can get that if you put that over, it can actually extend the life of the roof another 10, 15 years or so. And people should do that. So to, you know, just give them an option, because once you let the roof go and the rafters go and everything, then it gets to the point where, you know, that just gets demolished or demoed by neglect. But there are ways to prevent that, but he hadn't taken any steps. So I don't know. Steve was going to assess, like, if he thought it was worth, you know, if it was capable of saving, and give him some ballpark idea about what it would cost. I mean, it looks kind of sad there, but in the old
This is a very
pictures-
old picture. This picture
in
would
the
be
old
very
pictures, it
old.
was pretty cool. I mean, not as nice as and elaborate as the Berlin station was, but you know, it's typical of those little wooden depots, and it was important to the town. So, you know, I would hope that he would do something with it. You know, he said to me, at first he said, like, well, how about if I build a replica? And I said, that's not the point of preservation. So nothing's happening on that yet, but it may be with building materials so high, you know, he's not going to do anything right now anyhow.
well, is there any other matters of interest?
Yes, this is Amy.
Yes,
And I
Amy?
just wanted to point out, when we were looking at that shed at 991 Worthington Ridge, I just happened to notice the town hall next door. And there are a lot of issues there too. Some of the windows are broken or they're left open. There could be some roof issues. And I'm concerned that that's going to be a demolition by neglect at some point too. So I was wondering if there's some way that we can kind of intervene and do something to prevent the deterioration of that building.
I honestly don't know.
We'll have to look what kind of authority the town has to step in.
This is Richard, who owns that building?
I might believe that's the I'm gonna
Prozanowski
say it
family.
wrong. Yeah, thank you.
I don't know, there's
Personnelski.
Prozanowski.
So it's privately owned.
It is privately owned. Many years ago, probably in the 70s, there were a lot of town buildings that were auctioned off, including the old Griswold School, the what do you call it?
Selden School.
Selden School, the Town Hall, the old Percival School, and anybody could buy these items. And Mr. Prozanowski actually went through town and he brought up quite a few of them. And he was a very interesting man. He owned the Red Cedars Motel on the Turnpike, and he had 3 sons. And 2 of his sons still live in Berlin. One lives on Middletown Road and the other one lives on right next door to the old town hall. And his wife passed away in the last year or so. And I believe the property is owned, I'm not sure which brother owns part of the property.
This one says Martin owns it.
So Martin is the brother who lives next door. So, but yes, so he owns it.
There's no direction from the town as to what he had to do with it once he bought it.
No, he used it for storage. He used to have a lot of, he was a collector. He had a lot of odd items that he would buy and he would use. Friends of mine lived in one of the homes that the old Percival School on Percival Avenue that he had owned, and he used a lot of found and abandoned materials to creatively patch up the place and make it livable enough to rent out.
Because Amy's absolutely right, that building is in big trouble.
It is in trouble. But Martin was the gentleman who came before us last year on his residence about redoing the stairs on the side of the home, if you remember that.
Mhm.
And I don't believe any work has been done there, so I'm not certain what Mr. Prozanowski has plans for that or anything. So it might be something to look at because it would be, what would you call it? Left to deteriorate, as Amy said, the windows are open.
Demolition by neglect.
You know, but I meant, there's a rule that the town has on, for certain properties, Maureen, when they leave them like abandoned, what was
If
it?
they're abandoned and not lived in, then they can be blighted property.
A blighted property.
A blighted property, but they can't have, so they have to be unoccupied. What is one of the criteria? The last thing I knew, there were occupants in this building. I don't know if there are now.
No,
That was a while,
No.
a while ago. So this building is empty?
as far as I know, it is empty. I mean,
We don't really have any way of knowing unless we get told.
we
so.
had to, they had that front door was broken and the town, I think, actually nudged them along to get the front door replaced. But no one lives in that residence that I know of. Like I said, Martin lives next door.
Well, we
Maureen,
are
Maureen.
investigating some properties throughout town with regard to updating the current blight list. We are about to have some staffing issues with regard to doing that again. So we'll proceed as we can.
Okay,
And the town manager's office is coordinating that with our office, so we're working on it. We have 4 of us working on it right now. I'm sorry, Lorraine?
oh, this is Lorraine. Some years ago, I'm trying to think, it must have been like 15 years ago or so. This building was in such bad shape paint-wise that the town cited them under the blight ordinance, and then it wound up being painted, and I'm not sure who painted it. There was some rumor that the town painted it, but I don't know about that. But it's really, I agree with Amy, like when I looked at the barn on the other side and you're looking up at it, I mean, there's birds flying in and out of it, and this is such a unique architectural building to have here. And that was Brandegee Hall. I mean, it had a stage in it. The Berlin Playhouse was there. You know, it was just a lot of history in that building. And the Perzanowskis have said they're trying to clean it out. Like after it was like the grandfather that died, Susan.
It was Martin's father who passed away.
Right. And they said they've been gradually trying to clear it out, but it's kind of overwhelming. But I think Martin may be ill. Somebody
don't have
told
any
me,
contact with him.
and maybe that's why the stairs never got done and why a lot of things haven't gotten done. But it's a shame.
Has
All right, well,
anyone
yes, go-
approached them about possibly selling that building? I mean, if they decide to sell it, can't you can hire like, you know, people who junk removers and just get rid of it all and sell the building.
I think that would be beyond our purview to, whatchamacallit, but I'm sure, you know, that would probably be something that they would consider doing, but I don't know if, I just don't know what their plans are or intentions are. I don't speak with Mr. Perzanowski, so I have no idea what their plans are for that residence.
Susan, when we were talking to them on the street, he said to me, do you want to buy it? Like, you know, because he seemed open to selling it,
Oh.
but maybe he
didn't-
thinks he has to clear it out first.
So this is Susan, you saw Mr. Perzanowski when you and Pam were there?
No, this is, remember when we went to
Oh.
visit them about the stairs?
Oh, about the stairs.
The stairs in the house next door that never got done. And we were talking to them on the street and we were talking about the old town hall and a lot of the history. And he said, well, you know, I'd sell it if somebody would buy it.
I don't recall that part of the conversation, but
Hmm.
I'm sure your synopsis is accurate. I just don't know of anyone who would be interested.
I mean, you couldn't make it into apartments now because you can't grandfather things like that in.
No, it would not,
But-
that would not be permitted.
Yeah,
Discuss with a circuit rider.
I don't know.
what did you say, Amy?
I said, maybe it's something that we could discuss with a circuit rider. It's something that could be, you know, something that put up for sale in Preservation News or something like that. And it might be
Oh.
helpful. I mean, you know, if we do have an advisory role to say, it's like, look, you don't have to take all of this upon yourselves. If you could just do, you know, however it goes on to do the junk removal and try to sell it because, you know, time is definitely going to be an issue.
Mhm.
Well, that's a thought. I don't know how we would proceed with that, Amy.
I think we could just contact them, but I don't know if you need the owner's permission, you
I
know.
would think so. Well,
Since you guys, Lorraine, that you did talk, I don't know these people at all, but maybe since you did talk to them, if someone knows them, you know, we could just inquire. And especially if the town is going to somehow move on the blight ordinance, you know, that's going to start a conversation.
well, I think we'll have Maureen reach out as far as the thing and see if maybe somebody from the town can reach out to them about securing the building. But I think we'll have to wait on that circuit rider thing until we have permission from the owner to act on their behalf. Unless somebody wants to reach out to them, but I don't feel I would know them well enough to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know them well enough. The granddaughter sometimes comes to the museum. Maybe I could feel her out about it. And who I should talk to.
All right, well, seeing that there isn't any other business, I'm saying, you know, I thank you all for this Zoom meeting. I think it went very well. Thanks to Maureen and her her burgeoning technical skills. But I think that we could call it an evening. Do I have a motion to, unless somebody has something else to say, do I have a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I second, this is Amy.
Okay, we have a second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think it's a unanimous aye.
Aye.
All right, well, it's very good seeing everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have 7:46. See if I can figure out how to end this meeting completely.